Why do people gravitate towards masterpieces? Is it the magical force that captures the affect of the soul? What is the genius that makes the magnum opus the magnum opus? Well, I'm not here to talk about those masterpieces. It's boring to talk about the same thing everyone else has talked about. Among the manga community, mangaka who are considered the GOATs float around a lot. Oda Eshiro, Akira Toriyama, Rip, and other names will come to mind. These artist-writer hybrids brought new meaning to what was just a simple medium, and transformed it into a phenomena. There's a million other people talking about these mangaka, but I'm here to talk about Seo Koji. He's not a household name, but in the manga community, he's definitely not unknown. Even so, he's a mangaka which I admire greatly, not because what he makes are masterpieces, but because he's a writer who's existed so long, maintaining his place as the GOAT of 7 out of 10. Seo Koji is from Hiroshima. I don't know much about him, since even his Wikipedia page is anemic. But his iconic art that defines his style is far from anemic. Well, it's not anemic for many reasons, but maybe the busty anime babes are part of that reason. What do I mean by GOAT of 7 out of 10? If someone is 7 out of 10, doesn't that mean they're pretty mid? Yeah. But why him? I followed Seo Koji from my wee birth as a manga reader. He's been here forever. His most popular work when I started reading manga was Fuka. Hell, it had even been good enough to get an anime. But adaptations aren't the bar to make something good. So what makes him goated? There's one thing that people always headline when they start the GOAT discussions. Longevity. How long has the player been at the top of their game? How many trophies Faker has won? It means you have to be there to continue innovating and fighting for attention, but manga and writing as a whole hasn't seen the need for much supposed innovation. But the medium's changing audience, and the growth of the medium as a whole has changed the demands of the audience. Keeping up with these changes, it's all just part of the GOAT behavior. Seo Koji has survived these turbulent tides, and is still a mangaka to this day. The creative arts is a brutal field. His survival is more than a testament to that. I say the GOAT of 7 out of 10 because of all the titles he's written. His titles usually score a 7. Let's start with Hitman. It's the lowest rated of his modern works, a modest 7.07, but it's not to be scoffed at. Seo's art is distinct. Really distinct. Like most mangaka, his style can be sniffed by a toddler, and an adult alike. Hitman conceptually has harem elements, the story of an editor at a shonen magazine who can only get female mangaka working with him. Seo's dream, I'm sure. But I'm absolutely certain that he wanted some catharsis with this work, showing off his process, his love for the art form, through the characters that are, well, definitely Seo Koji characters. Of course, the work misses. It misses a lot. To be a 7, you are definitely missing. Seo loves ecchi and harem as backbones to his modern works. It makes him stand out. However, Hitman's weaknesses aren't tied to the shameless ecchi. It's just a manga that really wasn't sure whether it wanted to be Bakuman or a doomer piece about the difficulties of the industry. The way the chapters are formulated and the way the plot arcs are structured are so shonen that you'd expect the work to remain within that realm. However, whenever those shonen moments hit, they'd always be overcast with a cloudy shadow of, but here's the depressing reality. Of course, this writing works, but this absolutely did not help the identity of the work. Rapidly devolving into a rom-com which happened to have the editorial and writing process involved. It was a story with no bite. If it had lent into the seinen elements using depressing, satirical backward humor about their situation in a fickle industry that doesn't care for its writers enough, it would have at very least fought for a spot as a cult classic. But it decided to remain shonen, and in that decision, it undermined the very crux of the characters that were losing to their contemporaries. In the end, it was the Seo verse which saved it for me. The reintroduction of the familiar story of the Blue Wells from Fuka really managed to capture the emotional beats that Fuka had caught too. Melancholy and angst with repressed memories and pain, which lit the flame to the story. It just felt a little like fan service. It wasn't just weekly shonen Hitman anymore by then. Of course, Seo loves referencing his old works, bringing back characters doing all that business. Whether it's his choice or whether it's something he's doing to try and retain readership, I don't know. This finished a while back, 2018 or something, leading Seo Koji down the new, more profitable road, a straight harem rom-com ecchi series, Goddesses of the Cafe Terrace. A surprisingly excellent work considering how strong Koji leans on his ecchi crutch that underpins his humor. It's surprisingly great as a standalone work. It really doesn't shy away from the harem war, which remains a core part of the work and doesn't leave. The story remains adequately lighthearted with some cross-generational romance and other stuff. It's generally a decent plot with great emotional beats. It definitely screams Seo Koji. This has surprisingly taken the place in my heart for what makes him the GOAT of 7 out of 10. It's all because, unsurprisingly, his works are some of the best in the 7 out of 10 sphere. It's fan service, it's questionable, it's weird, but when the plot comes chasing, Seo Koji ensures he delivers. Even if The Goddesses of the Cafe Terrace is, well, indulgent, when it comes to the horror manga, this feels like a veteran's ode to the OG horror manga style. It introduces a bunch of girls and goes full horror war on that bitch, cause the new generation of horror wars are too fucking tame. But the backbone of his writing really is his emotional beats. They do miss, but when he hits, by God does he hit. Like most people, even experienced people, you can miss even if you're a pro. But when Seo Koji wrote Fuka, he put the burning pen nib to paper and wrote. It's cliche, it's melodramatic, it's crazy to every proportion, but this work is the quintessential music manga. It definitely takes inspirations from other music manga of the time, like Beck, and really uses many of the trials and tribulations of this genre to its limits. Of the music manga I've read, Beck, Fuka, AKB49 Rules Against Love, and Bocce the Rock, comment your favorite music manga below, Fuka clearly takes from its time. Music manga really builds on the sports manga base and dials it to 11 to make it feel greater, with strong action panels and beautiful double page spreads, which are a little forced at times, but whatever. He really shows the impact of the music in Fuka. But the double page spreads really only complement the actual drama and the highly emotional moments that he kick like a truck. It's that willingness to write those emotional moments without fear that make him the GOAT of 7 out of 10. Instead of just mid, you get a roller coaster of, holy shit, this is peak 10 out of 10, to, oh my lord, what the fuck am I reading? 3 out of 10. Seo cooks, and he cooks hard. Burning down the kitchen most of the time in his works seems like a natural consequence of how hard he goes. But yeah, it's a little less extreme than how I described it, but the roller coaster definitely applies. It's just the consistency of how long he's existed, as well as the consistency of how well his emotional beats hit, that makes him one of my favorites in the 7 out of 10 category. It's not easy to simply not be a one-shot wonder. Even if all the works you make are supposedly mid, it's hard being this consistently average. Also, I didn't talk about Suzuka because rereading 4 manga would have been too much after I'd reread 3. If I remember correctly though, that manga banged. Comment your favorite 7 out of 10 manga below, and subscribe and like if you feel like it.